What a unique and wild ride this system had throughout its lifespan. Some crazy titles came out for this system. A lot of love and hate for it. Let's go ahead and jump into my collection. What's going on, gamers and collectors? DGC back here with another video, and today we're going to be looking at my PlayStation Vita collection. It's not very large, it's not very proud, but I do love it nonetheless. Alright, so way back on February 15th of 2011, I guess it was, I bought the PlayStation Vita First Edition bundle. So I started actually, let's see. This can take you way back in time with me, and just like show you how much of a collector I am. Still have the baggies and everything. Here's the original memory card slip that it came in all torn up. I think the original receipt is in here somewhere. But either way, now I kind of want to find it. See if it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I haven't opened this box in years. Yep. Wow. GameStop. Let's see. Yep. 215. Oh, it was 2012. Way back in the day. Can't even see it. The ink's starting to fade off here. That's crazy. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into this collection. I just figured that would be a fun little thing to throw in there. So, this little bundle ended up coming with, let me see if I can find her. Little Deviants, which was a pretty unique kind of tech demo, basically. And, okay, it's just double-sided artwork, but really cool features because it ended up coming with Little Deviants, a 4GB memory card, and this nice PlayStation Vita pouch. And here's my original OLED, beautiful. Had this screen protector since before I even played the thing. Didn't even play it. I had to put the screen protector on. Always with handhelds, I always put them on right away. But and there's one bubble right in the center of the screen, and it has been irritating me for the last 6 or 7 years, or however long that's been. But so PlayStation Vita, got this day one, and then I guess I essentially got 4 games, even though this is a tech demo. This was actually a really fun experience. Not a lot of people ever talk about this. This is kind of like Nintendo Land for the Vita. It's a tech demo game, but it's really fun to play, and I really actually enjoyed this because you use the rear touchscreen, and you like use your fingers on it, and then it, like, you roll around in balls, and it's a really fun game. And honestly, you can probably pick this up for like $5. And then the other 3 that I picked up for this on the pre-launch day, essentially, because this came out, I think it was 5 days earlier than the normal people would get it. So of course, you know, I had to get that day one. So the one title that I was like most excited to get was Wipeout 2048, and this was a really, because I love F-Zero, and clearly Nintendo's never going to give us another one. So with Wipeout 2048, this was, I believe this was the last actual Wipeout that came out. They have the Omega Collection, but that just has this on it and a couple other games. This was the newest one of the series to come out, so, and that was way in 2011. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was the last new one that came out. And then a series that I'm actually really fond of that I don't know why Sony kind of let die out with the PS3. Actually, I guess this was the last one. They had one on PSP, PS3, and PS Vita. Mod Nation Racers. I had a lot of fun with this at launch. This has a nice little track editor in it, and I had a tremendous amount of fun with this. Really cool game, very unique. It's just really cool. The art style to it's really cool. The PS3 one has like a really funny story to it. I remember playing that. Like, the announcers are really cool, kind of like SSX or like an old school, you know, games like that of that era. Really fun game to play. And then of course, launch day, the thing that most people were excited for, and I was too, Uncharted Golden Abyss, and really good. To this day, I've still never beat it, and I'll tell you why. So later on in the game, I'd say I was more than halfway through the game, comes a sniper mission, and since you're missing 2 triggers on here, the way you control your sniper is, if I remember correctly, because it's been ages since I've tried it, you move your crosshair around with your finger when you're scoping, and that's cool and all. It's a cool idea. It's a neat idea. It's something different, but it's just weird that, you know, that's how they chose to do it. I mean, you could have, I don't know, done it with the front screen or something. But so basically, your teammate, I forget her name. Is she even on the cover of it? I forget where her name is, but you're with this girl for a while, and then she gets going across this bridge, and you're like way up here, and then you have to like snipe her, protect her from people with the sniper rifle. It's very difficult. If you've played this, you know the exact mission I'm talking about. Insane to beat that mission. But so yeah, I've had the Vita for a long time, and I had a lot of high hopes for it coming off of the PSP, and I really loved the PSP. I truly did, and because I got that day one as well, Circuit City. They're coming back, and PSP was awesome. I had the PSP 1000, then I have the 3000, which I still have. I don't have my 1000 anymore that I got day one. And then I had the PSP Go. The PSP Go was a game changer in my opinion. Very underrated PlayStation handheld and just console in general. It's basically the emulator master of the portable market until the Vita catches up. So then later on down the line, let's go ahead and check out a chunk of games here. Later on down the line, we got things such as Call of Duty. This game I got for Christmas one year, and I was pretty excited for it because it was exclusive. This has never been on another console, and probably never will be at this point. So this is the only way you're going to play this. Very difficult. I don't know why, because I've played every Call of Duty, I think, except for Black Ops 3. That's the only one I haven't played, which I actually just got not too long ago. And for this game, I just wasn't feeling it. It was very difficult for some reason. I don't know what it was, if it was just the tighter corridors or what, but it was just very difficult. Now, here's something weird. I picked this game up out of a whim, and I seen it, opened it up, and I was like, oh, it even has like a little manual thing, because if you Vita collect, you know that these pretty much never have manuals or anything in them. But I didn't know what this was. This is one of those what they call visual novels. The Vita is riddled with them. However, if you actually play through them and you're like a trophy hunter or an achievement hunter, this is a good way to get them. Although you like actually have to physically keep tapping the X button to continue through the story. So you can't just let it sit there and autoplay and get the trophies, which is what I tried to do. Never actually beat this. Do I regret buying it? Kinda. I honestly thought this would be some kind of weird like Asian like anime fighting game, but it's a visual novel, so I only made that mistake once. Then here's a really cool exclusive. I believe this eventually did come to the PS3 or 4 on the PlayStation Network, and that being Freedom Wars. So this is a cool Monster Hunter-esque RPG. I'm pretty sure it did come to the PS4 on the PSN. Not physically, I don't think. Really cool game though. This was like one of the things that Sony finally threw a bone to Vita owners, and they were like, check this out, cool exclusive for the system. And this was like one of the last big things where everybody was just like, oh my god, it's so great. And I remember a lot of people getting into that. Now here's one that I randomly picked up off of a whim. It was $9.99 at GameStop a few years ago. I don't own any other Silent Hill games. I don't really play any of them. Not that I'm not into them, I've just never picked them up because they're always a little too much of a price for me to want to get them into them. But Silent Hill Book of Memories, this is Konami obviously, picked this up on a whim for $10, and I actually had a lot of fun with it. It has this cool top-down aspect, and it's really fun. It's not scary by any means. It's honestly, the graphics are like PSP graphics. But it was actually a really fun experience, and if you can find this for like $10, I do recommend it. I really do. Now here's a cool one. This is Zipper Interactive's last game. You might know them from the SOCOM series. Why Sony decided to axe that studio, I don't know. SOCOM, Sony. You already have a ton of exclusives, but SOCOM is something that really would be doing well on the PS4 if you had like a 32-player match, like 16 versus 16, or I don't even know what kind of crazy numbers you could do with the PS4, but come on, Sony, give us SOCOM again. But so this was their last game that they did, and it was Unit 13. Really cool game. I actually haven't gotten too far in this. This came out pretty close to, it was in the launch window of the system. So this was when Sony was still actually supporting the system. Really cool game though. Again, you can get this for like $10. I don't think this can only be played on the Vita as well, so you're not going to play this anywhere else. So if you have a Vita or you want a Vita, there's 3 games that I highly recommend, and they're super cheap. Now here's another one that's also was exclusive, and then I believe it made its way to PS3 and or PS4 on the PSN. That being Soul Sacrifice. It is definitely a PlayStation exclusive, I know that. Who makes it? Actually, I guess it is made by Sony, so of course it is. I gotta be honest, I paid about under 15 bucks for this. Put it in, played it for a little while, and I'm pretty sure this is an RPG. I didn't get very far into it. I couldn't even get past the intro, I just couldn't. Now here's a series that I really love. This is Littlebigplanet for the PlayStation Vita. Where is our dedicated Littlebigplanet for the PS4? We got Littlebigplanet 3, but that was a cross-platform between 3 and PS4. And then we got this. Where is the new Littlebigplanet? I absolutely love Littlebigplanet. It's just a fun pick-up-and-play game because all of the people that create levels for it, you can just go play hundreds and thousands of levels that people create with all the little different assets you can buy, or some of them are free after a while. And such a fantastic game, and this is probably the first game you should pick up for your Vita because A, it's probably cheap now. It's been years since I got this. I got this the same Christmas I got Call of Duty. Such a fantastic game. This was just a joy to play. I really love playing Littlebigplanet, I truly do. Now, from the same developer, being Media Molecule? I think, yeah, that's how you say it. Media Molecule. This is Tearaway. This, for a fact, did come out on PS4 physically all over the world because I have it on my PS4. But the way that you want to play this game is on the Vita. This was created from the ground up by Media Molecule for the Vita. It's got the rear touchscreen features, front touchscreen features, gyro controls, just everything about this game screams PlayStation Vita. This was probably this and like Gravity Rush were some of the only games that were truly created around the Vita. And it was such a cool treat to play this game. It's a shame that, and I'm going to call out all three of the companies, Microsoft, not so much Nintendo, and Sony, don't take it as much, gambles and make some cool, unique, fresh experiences like this. I really wish they would. I'd like to see a sequel to this, I really would. Obviously it's just going to be on the PS4, but I still would like to see this character return, and yeah, this is a franchise that Sony should invest a little bit more money into. I know Media Molecule is working currently on, I think it's called Dreams or Dreamer, and it's essentially like a 3D Littlebigplanet, I believe. I could be wrong, I don't know a ton about it. I know it is like a level builder kind of thing, and the visuals look cool in that, but I'm kind of just looking for Littlebigplanet and Tearaway. Those are kind of the IPs that studio should just develop and kind of focus on, but that's just my opinion. So, a little bit later on down the line, Sony graced us with a home console variant of the PlayStation Vita. This was the bundle. This came with, as you can tell, the Lego Movie video game, the Vita, PS TV as they call it, and well, actually in Europe, or in Japan rather, they actually still call it the PlayStation Vita TV, but here they just call it the PS TV, or PlayStation TV. Comes with a PS3 controller, the game, and a 8 gigabyte memory card. So at this point I had a 8 gigabyte, a 4 gigabyte, I have a 16 gigabyte, I have a 32 gigabyte, and I have a 64 gigabyte. So I have one of each. I'm pretty covered. So the Vita TV I actually leave hooked up to my computer monitor, and occasionally I just pop in games there and play it on my monitor because I feel like Vita games are meant to be played on a smaller screen. My computer monitor itself is a 1080p monitor, so it is bigger resolution than this, but it's form factor wise it's much smaller than my actual TV, so it's kind of just in my weird way of playing games, I play it on my computer monitor. But the Vita TV is something that I could foresee in the future being kind of rare and sought after. These actually ended up getting clearanced out because nobody was buying them. I think I paid $30 from GameStop free shipping for this. Maybe 2015 I think it was. Like late 2015. And I mean, hell, this was when the PS3 was still kind of like just on its last legs out. And I mean, fuck, I got a PS3 controller for $30. That alone is worth it. the Vita TV alone is worth $30. The game alone, which is actually a decent Lego game, is probably worth $30, even though it is digital download. And then you get the 8 megabyte card or gigabyte card, which was roughly about, I think once they eventually did reduce the prices, and we'll talk about that in a second. But eventually they reduced the gigabyte prices of the memory cards, and you know, so all in all, this, I think initially this was 150 or two. Yeah, I think it was 150, because you got to remember they're taking away the screen and the touchpad and this and that, and the gyros and the you know, all that good stuff. So it does reduce the cost a little bit. But Vita TV, I highly recommend this if you can track it down. You can get it in the normal bundle. PlayStation Vita itself is region free, so you can download games from all over the world. I believe, I don't know specifically how all that works. I've never done it, but I know it is region free. So you can get carts from other regions. I do know that for a fact. And you know, doing this video kind of is like rekindling my love for the Vita. So I'm actually kind of excited about this. I actually really want to go back and play a lot of these games, and I'll be recording footage to put in the videos here. But so the Vita TV, definitely a cool collector's piece at the very least. For the price I paid, I can't beat it. You know, just for me alone, the controller alone was totally worth it. So definitely a cool little piece to have. And we'll go over a couple more games here. Now here's one that actually took me by surprise. Again, I paid like $10 for this. You can get a lot of Vita games pretty cheaply. It's kind of a fun thing to collect for. It really is. I do it in spurts though. This was Spy Hunter. So the graphics on this are not great, but they are okay. And it's pretty fun to play. It really is. This is a nice little pick up and play, you know, type title. And you know, definitely for the $10 I paid for it, you can't really beat this. I mean, Spy Hunter, you know, it's a classic shoot 'em up game, you know, on a car, and it's a wild ride. Now here's something that I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. DGC approved of this one. Child of Light. This was a sleeper hit in my opinion, underappreciated RPG, and to my knowledge, I think this is the only way you can own it physically. You can get it digitally on pretty much most of the consoles, but I think the Vita is the only way you can own this physically, and of course, being a game collector, I wanted to own it physically. So the other one that this came out with was Valiant Hearts. These are actually, Valiant Hearts and Child of Light were both created by the Far Cry team of Ubisoft, by all people. Which, you know, Ubisoft, you're walking around with big ass Gatling guns and sniper rifles and all that stuff, and then they make this beautiful RPG, and then Valiant Hearts is such a compelling, emotional journey. I loved that game. That never came out physically. Limited run games, where you at, man? Valiant Hearts. I want that shit physically. So, you know, this fantastic RPG, beautiful visuals, Valiant Heart. If you haven't had that, I beat that on PC and my PS3. I'd even love to play it again on the Switch, even, and this on the Switch. So check out Valiant Hearts if you. I'll probably try to include some gameplay or at least a screenshot of it, and then this if you haven't. A lot of basically all these games I just highly recommend. Here's another series that PlayStation gave a shot to, but then kind of just didn't give it its full backing. They were like, all right, we're going to give you this, but then we didn't give you our full backing on that. PlayStation. How you say this? PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I was actually a really big fan of this. I love Smash Bros. I also am really a huge fan of Kratos, Nathan Drake, Sly Cooper, Sackboy, Fat Princess, Ratchet and Clank. You know, just all the big PlayStation characters. They even included Raiden. You've got the Bioshock guy, and then there were a few. Oh, and then you had the Tekken guy was in here. You have Parappa the Rapper, and all these other characters. And I own this physically on the PS3 and the Vita, and then I actually had a download code, so then like I have it on another account, and I played the crap out of this. I really did. My favorite character, and I guess you could say my main, ended up being Raiden. And it's the badass Raiden where he's a fucking cyborg ninja. It's not the gay Raiden where he walks around naked holding his crotch. Although there probably is a costume that you can get of that. Fantastic game. Again, under $10 for the PS3 and the Vita. It's a must-buy. It really is. It's such a fun fighting game too. It's so simplistic like Smash Bros, but yet it can be complicated. The level design was great. Everything about PlayStation Battle Royale or All-Stars Battle Royale was just amazing. Really cool series that I would like to see make a comeback. So Sony, where's this at? Now here's another one that I actually have pre-ordered on my PS4, have it on my PS3, and I have it on my Vita. Dragon's Crown. Really cool sideways, I guess you could say, hack and slash RPG type game. It's published by Atlas. I forget who makes this though. Cryware. I don't remember, but it has such a beautiful visual style to it. It's such a cool game. It really is. I absolutely love this game. I would like to see them make a sequel to it though. And I assume maybe they're putting it on the PS4. I don't think the PS3 and Vita versions sold that well. It's kind of like a cult classic, I guess you could say. I think they're probably bringing it to the PS4 either to port the engine up or to test the waters again to see if people are interested in this type of game again. But so we'll see. And here's one. This is actually pretty rare. This came out from... I'm pretty sure I bought this on the Barnes & Noble's website, or maybe it was Fangamer is what it was. That being Shovel Knight for the Vita. This is one of the very few games that actually came with a big-ass manual in it. And it's full-colored and beautiful. There was either 2,500 copies of this or 5,000, I can't remember. But either way, if you somehow track down one of these copies, they're incredibly rare. And if you haven't played Shovel Knight, you really should. I own this on Wii U and the Vita, and that's it. Awesome game, it really is. I can't say enough about this. I actually had more fun with this game on the Vita than I did the Wii U. For whatever reason, this is kind of just is like a portable game to me. Like you just laying down playing it, and I always enjoyed that series. Now, one thing that actually kind of re-sparked my love for the Vita again a little later on in life, was they made a Slim model line, and we never got a lot of the cool colors in America. So I actually really just fell in love with the metallic red PlayStation Vita. Again, I got a nice screen protector on here. I think this is probably the most beautiful Vita there is. I really do. So this is the Slimline 2000 model. This no longer has the OLED screen, it just has an LED screen. Now, I've had this since day one, and I got this roughly around whenever this red one launched. It was probably late 2015, early 2016, somewhere in that time frame. And I gotta be honest, the OLED is nicer, but with the screen resolution being exactly the same, you might notice a hair difference in the blacks in the screen. But you're really not going to notice that much difference between the games. You're really not. And with that being said, the Slim line lasts a good hour or two longer than this. And I wish I had a scale to weigh these. This is so much more comfortable to hold. You could hold this for like 4 hours straight and just be perfectly fine with it. This, on the other hand, if you like big weighty things, you might. Has a lot of weight to it. It really does. And after a while, you're not going to get tired from it, but it's really just not all that fun to hold for long periods of time. Whereas this one, I find myself playing with this one all the time because it's super light. I don't know, maybe 4 pounds. Well, not 4 pounds, maybe 1 pound. I have no idea. I can't weigh this with my hands, but either way, I got to be honest. I recommend this one way more. The screen brightness is a little bit better. Just because it's an LED, the battery life, the weight, it's just a better console in my opinion. It really is. So let's take a last look at my. This one's definitely going to be last because it's my favorite Vita game. Let's take a look at the last small copies of games that I have. This is Lumen's Electronic Symphony. I didn't really know much about this when I picked it up. It is a Ubisoft title. It's like a rhythm based type game with music in it, so obviously I can't show any gameplay of this. Well, I can show gameplay, no audio. Cool game if you can get this for like $5. It's kind of fun to just pick up and play here and there. Now, oh, you know what? I don't know. I guess I thought I bought one of these games, but I guess I didn't buy it yet. So there's still one I need to add to the collection, and then I'm pretty much done collecting for the Vita. So these last ones. This one came out pretty early in its lifespan too, and this is one of my favorite PlayStation franchises that is sadly over with, to my knowledge. The series is over, unless they reboot it somehow. Resistance. Resistance Burning Skies. Really cool game. The visuals kind of suffered coming to the Vita. This was an earlier title on the Vita, so they're not terrible, but they don't look amazing either. This did kind of have some gimmicky touchscreen controls and touchpad controls thrown into the game, and you know, I didn't really enjoy that myself, but really solid title if you can find this. This isn't rare, but I mean, most Vita collectors want to own this because it's a good game. So I actually owned this digitally first, then finally found a physical copy years later. Haven't had this physical copy but for a couple years. So really good game. And we'll talk about that in a second, about some of these games being hard to find. So this physically is only available on the Vita and did eventually work its way to the Xbox One and PS4 and PC. That being Assassin's Creed 3 Liberations. So physically the only way you can own it is on the Vita. I never made it more than about an hour to 2 hours into this game because it's so unoptimized and choppy that it's just, to me, it is unplayable. And I actually really wanted to get into this because Assassin's Creed 3 itself, the American one with Connor the Indian, was probably one of my favorite Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed 3, Rogue, and Black Flag were my all-time favorites out of the whole series, and I've played all of them. So I was actually really excited to play this one because it's in the same general time era, and you know, American era, because this one is based in New Orleans. And I really wanted to try this. Same thing with the one with Adelaide from Black Flag. That one was called Freedom Cry, I believe. That one is only digitally on the PS4, Xbox, and PC, unfortunately, so I never bought it. But cool game if you can get past the choppiness. I've heard it's a pretty decent game if you can get past that. So this is a title that is also available on the Wii, and that being Muramasa. This is Rebirth, so this is kind of a redone edition, not like a remaster, but it's redone for the Vita. Really beautiful title. It kind of plays similar to Dragon's Crown in the sense that it's like a sideways hack and slashy type game, but this is more of a platformer, whereas that one's just more of a sideways hack and slashy RPG type game. Really beautiful visuals in this game. I cannot state that enough. So to defend the OLED a little bit, this is one game, and I'll show some gameplay of this on both of them, that really pops on the OLED better, a teeny bit. You can note. Hopefully you'll notice it. I don't know if you will, but we'll see. Really cool game though, and this is more sought after, so it's not rare. It was, you know, mass produced, but again, this is going to be one of the more sought after titles in the future, I'm thinking. So there's that. We're going to go for my big box, and then we'll go for my actual favorite game on the Vita. Alright, so I don't have a ton of these. We're going to go ahead and start out with a really cool one that I actually own on the Wii U as well. That being Shantae Half-Genie. Really cool game. Again, beautiful visuals. Nice. It's a nice 2.5D platformer, essentially. That's what it is. And so I actually, got to be honest, it is open, but I only played it on my Wii U. So I probably will go back and replay this just to get the trophies, because it is a really good game. It's kind of Metroid-y too, because you have to like go around and, or I guess you could say Zelda-ish too, but it is obviously sideways. You have to go around and get little different like items and take them to different people and talk to different people and go get hearts and this and that. So it's, if you haven't played the Shantae series, this is definitely a solid entry point, because this is on so many systems, I don't even know, and then like it's still relatively cheap to get this nice big box. It comes with the CD. This is called the Risky Beats edition. It comes with a nice CD. I believe there's an art book in here as well. Actually, I can just open it and find out. I don't even remember what's in here. No, just the game and the CD. But nevertheless, this is definitely a must pick up. Yeah, so Risky Beats, Shantae Half-Genie, such an amazing game. Really definitely worth picking up no matter what system you get it on. Now here's one that I really tracked down because I found this on like a Vita Collection video, or I forget where I found it, and I was just like blown away by this crazy looking game with this little girl, and you have to travel around, and there's like, you use light and stuff, and I was like, what is this? I have to find out about this. This is such an amazing game, and I'm blown away by this game. This is again one of those unique titles that came to the Vita that frankly you're probably never going to see anywhere else, and that being HTOL #NIQ, the Firefly Diary is what most people refer to it as. This has some kind of crazy name in Japan, but I've always just referred to it as the Firefly Diary. What an amazing ride this game is. It's so beautiful, and don't be thrown off by the fact that you're playing as a little girl and this and that. It's actually kind of scary, and it's a really fun trip to play this game. And this is obviously the collector's edition. As it is open, I just keep it sealed in the saran wrap. So music CD, art book, and the game. This is actually pretty rare. I'm very glad to have this because I really like this game. Now, this series actually ended up getting a sequel to it, a spiritual sequel in the sense. I'm not even going to pretend like I know how to pronounce this. This is a limited edition for the Vita. It's pretty uncommon. I actually did an unboxing of it. Yamawari Night Alone. I have no idea if that's how you say it, but again, beautiful game, same developers I believe, and this one actually comes with this on the exact same cartridge. Why they did that, I don't know. It's the same developer, however this is a totally different game but in the same universe, and yeah. So this is actually a really scary game, again dealing with a flashlight, and you run around a city and you run around different areas, and it's such a crazy looking game. And then this little monster guy with like this eyeball, and he comes and gets you, and it's such a crazy ride. It really is. It's really cool. And it's so later on in the lifespan they ended up including the PlayStation TV compatible and all that good stuff. Alright, and for a third entry into that exact same series, A Rose to Remember in the Twilight. This is actually, oh wow, that's really embarrassing. I never even opened this yet. That's how bad it is as a game collector. You get so much shit, you just don't even open it. So I guess this could very well be super rare. I have no idea. This isn't even opened yet, but it is in the same franchise, same series. Wow, that's really funny. I totally thought I had played this. I guess I totally have a reason to play my Vita again now. So yeah, I know nothing about this except for it's in the same series. Now, something that I recently got, and I actually own this on my PS4. I did a nice unboxing for that, for the PS4. Curse Castilla EX, limited edition. I can't say enough about this game. This series is amazing. Well, it's not a series yet. Hopefully it becomes one. Basically brings you back to the Ghouls and Ghosts, you know, type games. And just an amazing series, or I keep saying that, but it's an amazing game. Beautiful, awesome retro style graphics, and really fun to play. I can't say enough about this. You can get this on Xbox, PS4, digitally. To get a physical copy of this, it's gonna cost you, either on the Vita or the PS4. It's gonna cost you, unfortunately. But if you can find them, they really are good, and they might still be available on the Vita, on the website. I could be wrong, but they're definitely sold out on the PS4, unfortunately. Now, one of my favorite games for the PlayStation Vita ended up being this little gem. I might even go as far as to say this is probably one of my favorite shoot 'em ups, and to my knowledge, this is the only physical shoot 'em up available on the Vita, and that being Soldner X2 Final Prototype. This is the Japanese variant. This isn't the limited run one. Unfortunately, I missed out on it, but I'm okay with that because this edition is exactly the same. So this did come with like a nice little colored manual, which is cool, and I believe this cover art is reversible. Yeah. So you've got that ship on that side and that ship on that side, and so with this game, the boss fights are crazy. Much like most shoot 'em ups, the boss fights are crazy, but such a cool game. It's very refreshing to play this. this was probably one of the games that got me back into shmups, because I kind of like have phases where I go in and out of game genres, and then I just go hammer time on playing them. But this really got me back into them, and I really enjoy playing this every couple of, well, probably, I definitely at least play it every couple of months, and I try to. And some levels you'll be going sideways, and some you'll be going down, some you'll be going up, and it's just, it's a very well done shoot 'em up. And one thing that does kind of suck about this game is the original game to it, Soldner X, I guess it is, only came out on the computer, and I think it's available on Steam, which I could get, but it's not on any consoles is what I'm getting at, so that kind of sucks. But really cool game if you can find this. Physically, it's going to be hard for you to find, but if you do really want to get into this game, digitally it's not terribly expensive, and I do recommend playing it. Much like most shoot 'em ups, they don't come out in the West, so I had to jump on this when I had the chance. So that's my Vita collection. A few gripes and complaints I wanted to talk about with this bad boy at the end of the collection video. I absolutely love this thing, I really do. However, Sony really dropped the ball. I have a massive game collection in general, I really do, and I really wish I had you know, more reasons and more excuses to buy games for this system. However, most of the games that came out on this were just, in my opinion, not very good. Limited Run was supporting it at the end. East Asia Soft's supporting it still. NIS is still supporting it, as you can see with all my limited editions. And those games are cool, but I want, you know, I want stuff like this. I want Resistances. I want Fallout, or fuck, they could have given us a Vita Fallout. They could have gave us that Vita Bioshock that they were going to give us. They could have given us all these different things, and then they just promise after promise every E3, we're going to give you more, we're going to give you more, it's not dead, it's not dead. It's still in production. The Vita is still being made to this day, but like, I haven't bought a game for the Vita in like a, you know, like just a small standard game at a GameStop or Best Buy or anything in years. I haven't even seen a Vita game in Best Buys in years. And even when you go into GameStop, it's like a little like 2 foot by like 4 foot thing, and then there's like maybe 12 games on it, and it's just like, Sony, you dropped the fucking ball. The PSP was badass. The Vita is badass. It could have been, and it still could be. If Sony were to start making games for it again, I think that it could be still successful. If they were to drop a Littlebigplanet 2, and then maybe, you know, make a Littlebigplanet and like a couple other like games like that, maybe even another Uncharted, I think that the Vita could still thrive. I really do. Even if it just being for a couple more years until they made another handheld. With that being said, Sony claims they're done making handhelds. That's kind of disappointing to me. I really feel like now's the perfect time for them to strike, because there technically isn't a new current gen just handheld. There's the Switch, of course, and the 3DS still exists in some aspect. The Switch isn't really a dedicated handheld, and the 3DS, let's face it, it's on its last legs. So now's kind of the time for somebody to jump in and be like, hey, we're still making dedicated handhelds, here it is. And at this point in time, they could come out with some nice, I mean, Sony, of course they can. They're great at making electronics. That's what they're known for. They could come out with some little badass little 7-inch screen, 1080p, with all sorts of bells and whistles, and make it just super awesome. And then if they, and you know, get rid of the rear touchpad. That was a cool idea, but it was kind of a gimmick. Get rid of that shit. Keep the touchscreen, that's cool. Add 2 more triggers onto it. You know, make the thumbsticks clickable. We have the technology, you can do it. Make, you know, and even call it the PlayStation Vita 2. Or call it the PSP 3. You know, call it something cool. Give it a cool name. Give it some kind of badass name. And I really think that the, you know, PlayStation consoles could thrive again in the handheld market. I truly do. And, you know, these are kind of just all my thoughts and opinions. As far as memory cards go, though, my God, was that a struggle to get memory cards for the system. Just like the PSP. I remember when the PSP came out, that came out in '05, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was like '05. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was '05. So I would have been 15, and I was obviously 15, so memory cards were expensive. I had to buy that shit on my own at this point. There was the 2 gig cards and the 4 gig cards, and then Sony tried to make them cool and hip, and they made them like the translucent colors and stuff for the PSP, and you know, attempts to get people to buy them, like kids and stuff, when I was 15. And buying the memory cards for the PSP sucked, and then when I got older, I was like, oh, Sony's not going to do that again with the Vita, and sure enough, the Vita memory cards were ridiculous. I remember buying the 32 gig card. I had my parents buy it for me for Christmas when they got me Littlebigplanet, Call of Duty, and then they got me the 32 gig card. And this was, I was pretty big into the Vita at that point, because I mean, fuck, I bought a $100 32 gigabyte card for my Vita. I mean, Christ. Well, I didn't buy it, my parents did, but you know, I was dedicated. I wanted the Vita to succeed. I really did, but they just didn't put any games out for the damn thing. And you know, for me, I bought the 32 gig card, and like, I've never even filled that thing up. And actually, that brings me to another point. I never showed my. But yeah, so those are all my digital games, and again, there were some times where I would just buy it digital because it was just easier for me to do that because I couldn't track it down at a store and didn't feel like dealing with buying it online and shipping and this and that. So in some aspects, digital, obviously it's way more convenient, but you know, I like to own the real copy, but sometimes you just had to do what you had to do. And but the memory cards, they were just too expensive. I honestly think that was really a big downfall for the Vita. It wasn't the main downfall, but it definitely didn't help with the Vita. And this subject has been beaten to death with PlayStation and Sony in general with their memory cards. Even their memory cards for their cameras are ridiculously expensive. Sony just, you need to get a grip on your memory card situation. They don't cost that much. They don't need to cost that much. You literally print them out probably by the thousands a day. So there's no need that they need to cost that much. But whatever. You know, other than that, could a Vita 3, you know, a 3000 series model come out now and still succeed? No, I think that would be very foolish of them to do. But I do think a successor could come out, and if they marketed it right, had some nice launch titles for it, I think that the Vita 3 or PSP 3 or whatever they want to call it could actually be a successful thing. I really do. With that being said, we're probably not going to see that. This is just wishful thinking. I do actually enjoy having dedicated handhelds, which is weird because I never actually play my Switch as a handheld. I pretty much just exclusively play it as a home console. Spoilers, I actually didn't really like the Switch idea. I kind of just want it to be a home console. But yeah, so I just, you know, with the Vita, I loved it, but I kind of hate it at the same time. I really do. I wanted so much out of it, but Sony just didn't deliver. They really didn't, and it really sucks that they didn't. So those were all my games. Hope you enjoyed watching that. This is probably going to take an incredibly long time to edit this video because I'm going to try to add gameplay to, you know, certain portions of this video. And if you enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and leave me a comment with some of your favorite Vita games, or if you have some opinions on some of these games or some of the things that I brought up in the video. And as always, peace out for now, guys. Until next time.
Come here, you mother.